This map first impressions video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another map first impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Holmåkra. That is how I believe Google Translate has told me to say this. This is a Swedish forestry map, according to the description over at farmyard.com mod hub, which is where you can download this particular map. This forest property is set in southern Sweden. A detailed and diverse forest, seasons supported. So that's right, this map does have a seasons mask and does have different foliage textures changing with the seasons. Custom tree textures, over 17,000 trees are on this map. Terrain modeled from real-life terrain data. Depth of field has been removed to improve FPS and distance blurriness, and custom buildings on the farmyard with a traditional Swedish look, accompanied by big sheds to store your machinery. Now there are two additional mods that are going to be required for this particular map. You can download them over at the farmingsimulator.com mod hub. They are linked with the map. That is the fuel tank by Vertex Design and the machine sheds by DMI 20mm Normandy. This map is available for all platforms. Let's go ahead and jump on into the map. We are going to deselect everything except for a few items that we'll make sure that we want to enable. This is the fuel tank that is required. Of course, the map itself. Machine sheds, which is also part of what is required. Get rid of that nasty little dot in the middle of the screen. Let's go ahead and load up the map. Ignore those two little informational listings. And there we go. Map loads up pretty quick. As soon as we load into the map, we are basically thrown into the middle of the forest. Got our trusty still chainsaw down here. Too bad we can't walk up here and pick it up. And we are not equipped with a chainsaw from the beginning, so we will have to buy a chainsaw. As far as starting equipment goes, well, you're looking at it right here. Start with a Voltra tractor and the Stepa log trailer, and that is our starting equipment. This is what we start with on all game modes. Start from scratch. Farm manager or new farmer. This is what we start with. Let's take a look at the map. There we go. If we look at the lands, you can see we pretty much own everything. The map itself is the light colored area. So what I'm outlining with the cursor, that is basically the map boundary. Okay, so it's not quite a full-sized map. You see quite an extensive road network, and our farmhouse is way up here, whereas we start way down here. And then we have our log sell point right there. We have a wood chip sell point, and then of course we have fuel station. Take a look here. You can see that the only sell point on the map is the log and wood chip sell point. So if you want to do any sort of actual farming on this map, you're going to have to put in placeable sell points to sell your crops. See, the starting equipment is those two pieces of machinery I just showed you. As a result, there are clearly no contracts on the map because there are no official fields. So let's jump over to the farmhouse and kind of do a little bit of a look around the farmhouse. This is our farmhouse. If we walk up to it, see we have the sleep trigger come up. Got some nice fencing in here. I will say that if you start on Farm Manager or start from scratch, farmhouse is gone. Some of these buildings are gone, but some of the other buildings are still here. So these two kind of tall and narrow red buildings that are directly in front of us, those remain. But this building here to our right, the far building over there, then there is another building right there. That building is gone, okay? So if we do new farmer or start from scratch, farm manager or start from scratch, fuel tank, that building, this building, right there, and the farmhouse is missing. Now, if we take a look here under the placeables, you can see that we can place the farmhouse. So we can put that back down, and we can put the sheds back down because that is part of the required pack. And the fuel is going to be found here under the miscellaneous. So let's take a little bit of a look around here. So of course we have a sleep trigger. Over here we have the workshop. We have our vehicle workshop. Our sell trigger there, so we can sell our vehicles, things if we want. If we buy something, it is going to spawn in basically right here. This is where it's going to spawn in if we buy something. In fact, let's go ahead and buy something small. There you can see where it spawns in at. Then we have our log sell point, which is right over here. We don't have to actually put the logs on this rack. We can, of course, if we want, but we just need to put the logs close to it. There we have the log sell point. And I believe the wood chip sell point is right here. Let's see if we can tag it. Standing right on top of it. So it's either going to be that pile there or that pile over there. I looked at the trigger. I've got a sense that it's going to be this pile right here. Of course, there is our fuel tank. Now with that, let's do a little bit of an aerial fly around, and then maybe we'll get in the Voltra and drive back to the farm. Right, here we go. I want to get too terrible high because I don't want the trees to clip out, but here we can see the map edge. Distance map scenery. Do have some clearings, so if we wanted to, we could create some fields and do a little bit of farming. But again, remember, you're going to have to basically make your own sell points because there's nothing anywhere to nowhere to sell any of your crops. See, we have such a dense forest in here. A little bit of a marsh over here to our left. And another clearing kind of over here on top of this hillside. Some stumps, deadwood. Go ahead and bring up the map. Full view. Got kind of a hillside here that's been kind of cleaned out. Seems to wrap around quite a bit. Would be a heck of a field to try to do right there, wouldn't it? Don't know how practical making this into a farming map would be. Just based on how the terrain is laying through here. I don't think there's too many overly flat areas. Big mountain lake up here. Clearing further up. Another kind of clearing here on the hillside where someone's already come through. Logged. You can see way off in the distance there, that is the main farm. At this point, the clip distance on the trees exceeded that over there, so they've kind of phased out on us. And our starting point is way up here on the top. This ruddy road. This is pretty much where we start. right back to our lovely chainsaw right here. So with that, let's go ahead and kind of forego the typical Mahindra drive. Let's get in our Voltra. Leave our trailer here. And just kind of drive through this road and make our way back around, I guess, to the farm. Maybe to get a good sense of this, let's do all this. Let's do all this driving in cab and just kind of look around a bit. Talk about trying to bring a load of logs. How long do you think it would take to clear this entire map with just this Voltra and that little logging trailer? Go off the road here and see if it's any smoother. This whole area here is just littered with these big boulders, tree stumps. Suppose you could do some farming through here. Pretty hilly terrain still, but not too bad like that hillside was earlier. Tall grass here. Tree stumps are kind of hard to see in this tall grass. I think the distance scenery works for the most part on this. You want the 2D tree border typically is so blatantly obvious and just really hard to look at on most maps. I think it almost, kind of works with this map, where the trees just kind of flow straight into that. Let's take this shorter trip around. We'll hook up to the smoother road. Down here looks like back across that a little bit. Quite an interesting map. A little bit of a marsh down there. So far, OBS seems to be behaving itself. I've seen OBS go a little bit crazy when I drive through some maps that have a heap ton of trees. Not seeing that with this one. So that is good. That means it's been fairly well optimized. Now we're on some smoother terrain. Of course, we could take the more shorter route back to the main farm if we go the slower, rough roads. That's really the quicker way. Man, it's just quite a downgrade. Look at that. There's a serious climb coming up this. Also, check out the tractor. We start out with about 3/4 of a tank of fuel and maintenance. About 1/4 on our maintenance bar. We are coming around with the steep slope. We're coming down the mountain. Here you can see we're really close to that flat 2D tree picture, 2D map border. Seems to work marginally okay, I think. We're looking right there. We're looking at the flat tree picture right there. Do a lot of in-cab driving, you probably wouldn't necessarily notice it as much. Oh, the hillside, all those rocks. Imagine if I don't know if those rocks are scattered throughout the forested area too. Make a heck of an interesting forestry work. Quite some challenging terrain, which apparently, according to the description, is based on a realistic mountainous terrain. It's pretty cool. There is a very steep logging road. Take a look up that. Pretty steep logging road. Hate to have to try to do that one in the winter with seasons. Down a little bit. Coming around to where the farm is and where the sell point is now. And here we are, opened up into our clearing. Starting to see the fencing. And there is our drive back into the main farm. This is kind of over here. Down here is kind of the flattest areas. Might be able to make a go of making some farmland down here. But again, you're going to have to put in your own placeable sell points if you want to go that route. So guys, that is Holmåkra. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of this forestry map? Something you would give it a go with and try it out. Something I wanted to show you real quick before I go is there's a little bit of water here, and listen to it when I walk through it. Might be hard to hear, but I get a little bit of a puddle sound, which is pretty cool, I think, walking through that. So guys, until next time, happy farming. Be sure to click that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.